Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I've got a friend, and he's a bit of a mentor of mine, and he said, make sure you get a standing applause. So, I need your help. Can you help me out? I'm going to Snapchat him a standing applause, if you'll be so gracious. All right? All right, are you guys ready? And you can just cheer as loud as you want. Ready? Go. Perfect, that's brilliant. All right, let's do this. All right. Hey? No, he didn't. That's right. I've done my job now. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to talk today about the future of WordPress, or at least one possible future of WordPress. My name's Luke. I look after product at XWP. Surprisingly nervous right now. We'll get there. So I'm actually going to ask you to stand up again, because here's what I want you to do real quick. It's the only sort of standing up you're going to have to do, don't worry. Stand up if you've been using WordPress for more than a year. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, now sit down. I'll say, okay, 2 years. Stay standing if 2 years. 3 years. 4 years. 5 years. All right, that's a good chunk of the room. 6 years. 7. 8. 9. 10. Well, WordPress is 13 years old, so if anybody is still standing after that, good on you, mate. I didn't define which WordPress. I did mean .org, yes, sorry. That's a good distinction to make. Generally, I think that when we talk about WordPress, we can assume the open source WordPress, since we're all here as part of a big open source community, not a private organization. So if I say WordPress today, that's what I mean, open source. So now you've got a bit of an idea of how long you've been using WordPress. I want you to think to yourself, ask yourself the question, since I started using WordPress, has it improved? Yes. I'm getting lots of nods and yeses. I agree. I think it's come a long, long way. And I'm going to give you, straight up here right now, I'm going to give you my key takeaway for this whole talk, right at the very beginning. So if you've got a piece of paper, pay attention. The key takeaway is that WordPress doesn't improve on its own. Okay? It's not something that just happens magically or automatically. Okay? Excuse the pun. It requires all of us sitting in rooms just like this, thinking hard, planning, strategizing, talking online, talking in forums, talking on chats, talking in Track. And it's only because of these conversations, it's only because of people like you that WordPress actually gets better. If that doesn't happen, it doesn't, all right? So, I mean, it seems like an obvious thing to say, but it's important to recognize. So the aim of this talk today is to bring up a topic for us to discuss. I want to bring up a topic about WordPress, about a possible future of WordPress, and just open it up for discussion. Okay? It's something to talk about. I'm going to say some stuff that you might agree with, and I'm going to say some things that you might disagree with. Okay? And that's good. It doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong. It's something to talk about. So we're going to go through 3 things. The first thing is WordPress isn't perfect right now. WordPress, to me, has a few faults, and probably the most glaringly obvious is that it has a terrible new user experience. All right? That sometimes you'll see it abbreviated NUX. So for people who are new to WordPress, it's actually a pretty steep learning curve. After we've talked about that, I'd like to look at some of our competitors, our frenemies, as I like to call them. We've already heard mentioned in 2 of the talks, Squarespace, and we're going to look at what some of our competitors are doing to try and overcome this new user experience hurdle. Okay? Lastly, I want to demonstrate some feature plugins. So what's a feature plugin? It's like a proposal, an idea proposal. All right? I'm going to demonstrate a couple of feature plugins that could potentially be the future of WordPress. And these are plugins that, if you like them, you can actually install and start using on your website right now. So you ready? Cool. Let's talk about helping new users. 3 big problems with new user experience. At least 3 for this talk. Here's problem 1. Now this is a screen that we're all very comfortable with, especially those of us in the room who have been using WordPress for more than 10 years. Okay? I mean, even in the last 3 years. It's not really that dangerous to us, but if you've never seen this screen before, I wonder if there's a laser pointer on this thing. There is. Then there's a lot going on. It's actually quite confronting for new users. So what do I do? I've just installed WordPress and logged in for the first time, and I've got like this quick draft thing. If I want to create a draft, I don't know what a draft is. I don't know why I need to see this WordPress news. What's this here for? I've got a page. That doesn't help me much. All of these options down the side here, that's pretty confronting. I'm looking at that as a big list of, oh, there's lots to learn, all right? There's still a lot ahead of me. And we've got this nice Welcome to WordPress section at the top. And the idea of this meta box here is to help new users overcome some of those hurdles, all right? So this is an attempt at fixing the problem. It's a pretty good attempt. The very first thing, hopefully, you see when you log in is this big blue button. Not enough people click it. But the idea here is that that's the first thing we want new users to see. And we've got a whole heap of next steps. And actually, this, I can imagine, would be pretty confusing. What do I want to do next? What if I do it in the wrong order? I don't know how to add an about page, but if I click on that, will it teach me? What's this learn more? And so, I mean, this is a pretty good attempt at overcoming the hurdle, but it's still difficult. However, we don't usually give our clients an empty WordPress, do we? Usually we've got some plugins installed. Our theme might have a few options as well. So what I did was, on this brand new WordPress install, I went into plugins, add new, went to the most popular plugins, and just installed 5 of the most popular plugins. That's all I did. There is a lot going on, and that's scary for new users. Right. That's problem 1. Here's problem 2. A new user does click on that big blue button, and this is what they see. It's the Customiser. And often, a very common use case is, I've got an idea of all the different sites I want on my site, on my new WordPress. So I've got an idea of the structure of it. I've got a sitemap in my head. So I'm going to try and add them. And so usually, they'll click on menus to try and add a new item to the menu up here. And they get to here. Okay, I mean, menus are a little bit of a complicated thing, but they figure it out. And they go, all right, let's add my about page now. How do I add my about page? It doesn't exist. I'm confused. So, like, the only way of overcoming this is getting out of the Customiser completely, adding an about page from the Pages menu, and then either coming back to the Customiser to put it in the menu, or going to a completely new interface for adding menus. That's not a great user flow, I think you'll agree, right? That's problem 2. Here's problem 3. Anybody recognize this person here? That's the beautiful detail in Vienna. So here's a sample page. Now, this is running the 2016 theme, which does a really nice job of overcoming the problem I'm about to describe, but most themes will actually act a lot worse than this. I'm editing my page. I'm conscious that there's a sort of strange gap here of words, and I'm conscious that the photo keeps clipping this text here. Let's see what it looks like when I click Preview Changes here. What happens? Well, you can see a new tab opens, and it looks a little bit different. Actually, 2016 does a really good job of making them look pretty similar, but even so, I wasn't maybe expecting it. I might have done things differently if I knew this was going to be on the side, and seeing the color scheme and the background. Oftentimes, themes will just completely change the look of a post. You guys know what I'm talking about? And so it means like switching back and forth all the time. And I don't know about you, but I've had customers who, they just don't get tabs, right? So what do? They click Preview Changes, and then they click Edit Page again, and they end up with this. Have you ever seen that before? Happened to me, yeah. Even tabs aside, just switching between the two views isn't a great flow, right? It's not a great user experience, and it's confusing for new users. So there you go. There's 3 problems that new users experience with WordPress that I think that as a community we can talk about to overcome. Let's have a look at what some of our competitors are doing, starting with Squarespace. Who's used Squarespace? Yep, a good number of people. That's really cool. It makes it really easy to create a site. And when you first log into Squarespace, this is what you see. Okay? Might be a different theme that you've chosen. I chose this one in my demo. And I can actually go in and start editing this text straight away. I can see my site straight away. I see what I'm getting. And if I want to use that menu example from before, I can actually put my cursor up here, and it'll give me an edit option. It'll take me to here, and I can add new pages and actually add them from here and start to create the layout of my site through this menu and see the updates live as I do them and see what it looks like on my site, see if I like it, hover over the drop-down menu, and I've got that context. It's a much nicer experience. If I want to edit content, I just scroll down to the content and click on it and start editing. Right? Select to get this sort of menu bar here. Really easy. I think there's a lot we can learn from that. Another competitor is Wix. Has anyone used Wix? Yeah, a few people. This is the first thing you see when you log into Wix. A little bit more clunky. But again, you've got this context straight away. All right, I can see my website. Let's start making it my own. We've got buttons and a toolbar here. Probably I'll totally ignore that toolbar because I don't understand it. But if I want to start editing my menu, sure enough, I just click on that menu there, and I get taken to here. And I can add a new page right away and start building out the site that I want. And again, with the content, actually, Wix opens a dialog for content. You scroll down to where the content is on your site. So you do have that context, and you click on it, and you get taken to here. And it's a little bit different to WordPress. You can see the date and the author are where they will appear when the article is saved. And it does look a lot more like it will when it's published, but it is in a new dialog. And lastly, let's look at Medium. Who has used Medium? Beautiful, beautiful way of creating content. Now, you'd think that this was a post that's already been published, but it's not. This is a post that is currently being edited. So this is a text editor. I can put my cursor in there, start typing away, select text, and make it bold with that same sort of little toolbar, pretty little toolbar pop-up that shows just above my selection. And when I publish it, it looks almost exactly the same, all right? So I think we lose a little extra space I accidentally added in there, and we get some tags and comments and sharing and things like that, all right? So again, it's this context. That's what they all have in common, is they all give new users the context, all right? They can see their site, and they can start editing their site with that visual composition. Does that make sense? And there are several things in WordPress that try to provide something along those lines. You might have used Divi. Divi is a great theme, great framework, really. And it's recently released a front-end editor style thing that's similar to Wix or Squarespace. And there's others out there. Visual Composer is another one, which I try to avoid. So let's think about what would this look like if it were in WordPress? What if there were a way of seeing changes that you're making in the back end of WordPress live on your site, but without being published? Wouldn't that be good? Well, actually, there is a way already. It's called the Customiser, okay? And I'm going to give you a live demo of it now. I have to switch to shared screen here, mirror. And here we go. So here's WordPress. Now, without any custom feature plugins installed, I can go into my Customiser, or I can click on Customize Your Site here. Now, I should say I'm running WordPress 4.7, right, an alpha version. So this is something that's coming very soon, December, I believe. Just this morning, there was a huge commit, which is massive improvements to the Customiser, which are making things a lot quicker, a lot smoother and faster, less clunky. So look forward to that. If I want to maybe have a look at what my widgets would look like, I can reorder them here and see that live. You might be familiar with that. You might already use that. Okay? That's really handy because if I did it through the widgets admin, those changes are being published before I even see what they look like. All right? And that's just not on in a production environment. So always, I would recommend always use the Customiser for editing things like widgets. Menus are the same. You know, you will have seen menus. So the Customiser is a great tool that's already built into WordPress for us to preview changes that happen live on our site. But what about posts and pages? We can't edit a post live within the Customiser, right? How do we create a post and like our competitors do, keep that context, keep our user engaged, and see how their site looks as they're making these changes? I'll show you 2 feature plugins today, which will allow us to do that, and will help us look at how we want to do it going forward. So right now, I've got a plugin enabled by Ella called the Front-End Editor, and this is how it works. If I visit my site, here's my WordPress site, and I can scroll to a post that I'm interested in. Let's say this one. I'll click Edit. And I'm in the front end of my website now, and I can go ahead and edit and throw in some exclamation marks there. And you can see down the bottom here it's saved and not yet published. Okay? It's a really nice way of creating new content. So I'm writing a blog post. I think I'll put in a new heading here. And I'll just change this to a heading. Heading 3. And go ahead and type, hold on, type in my content. So that is the front-end editor. And we can add images and do all sorts of things. I'll save you D. All right. So using a plugin like this is really, really helpful for people who need that sort of visual context, all right? And that one is called Front End Editor and it's by Ella. I won't attempt to pronounce the rest of her name. There you go. And then when I'm done, I can press Publish. I'd like to show you another plugin, and it's called Customise Posts. I'll just deactivate that and enable these two. So part of the problem with front-end editor is it's not possible to do things like change dates or change the author or add an excerpt or things like that. It's really nice for being able to edit content, but there are other parts of a post that are important that we need to be able to access. So this feature plugin I use on all my personal sites all the time. I find it incredibly helpful for visually gauging what a post will look like. So let's go here into Appearance, Customize. This is with Customise Posts enabled. I'm going to just go over to the sample page here. And do you guys know about shift-click in the Customiser? In the Customiser, you can shift-click on just about anything. And with Customise Posts, you can also shift-click on content, and it will take you to the Customiser option for that. Just close this editor. So this is Customise Posts. We can see here's the title, add our exclamation mark. We can change the status. Now, did you know that if you are just editing this page in the standard editor, and you change the page template, and then click Preview, you won't be able to preview that page template. It'll still show you the one that is saved, okay, the one that's published. But with Customise Posts, I can change to a no sidebar template and see the changes straight away. And there's no other way of previewing template changes in WordPress. And another big one is feature image. Did you know that if you're editing a page or a post and you add a feature image, that feature image is live straight away. It updates with Ajax. It's live before you press update. So there's no actual way of being able to preview a feature image. So with Customise Posts, I can do that. This particular page doesn't support it, but anyway. And my favorite part is this content editor, which opens up at the bottom here. Now, when I'm using this on my personal sites, what I like to do is press collapse down here and maybe drag this open a bit and go ahead and add in some new content here. Just like that. And we can already see what it's looking like on our site. Now, it's a really nice way of doing it. I'll just collapse my editor. Now, this isn't live yet. This is still unpublished. And I can even go back and go out of my pages, maybe find a post in here. And I'm going to, on my site, navigate over here. Where's my markup text alignment post? That's not it. Oh, sorry. Image alignment, text alignment here. Shift click on it to bring this up. And I've still got my exclamation marks from before. What would this look like with an excerpt? Oh, nice. And do you know what I think I might just do is throw a, here we go, more tag. I think I like that, but I'm not really happy with where that more tag is. I'm going to delete it and put it here. Again, this isn't live. And if I click on this post, you can still see my excerpt and everything like that. So it's all like that. I can toggle comments on and off, and I can use a different user here. You'll notice that selective refresh is active. So if I just change the date, The only thing that updates is the date. It's really quick, really fast, really nice. One more thing that I'm going to show you with Customise Posts. If you choose to edit a post in here with the standard editor, again, we can't preview a feature image, because if we choose a feature image, that's immediately published. But we can hit preview changes here, and with this plugin enabled, we're taken to it live, not in a new tab, but in the Customiser. We can make our changes, open our editor, type what we like, and I find for me that this is a much better way to compose posts and pages. When we're done, we'll just click back, and we're taken back here. None of it has been published yet. It's still pending change, and we just press update, and now it's live. Does that make sense? So I think that this makes a really, really nice addition to WordPress. I think that this is a natural evolution for WordPress, and I hope you agree with me. I think that it makes a lot of sense to move posts and pages to the Customiser. I'll finish up. So what can I do? Maybe this talk has inspired some ideas. Maybe you think, that Luke guy's got it all wrong. Content doesn't belong in the Customiser. We need to get rid of menus from there too, and that's good, that's fine. Let's talk about it. Maybe you think this is a great idea and you want to see it happen, because it's not going to happen unless people are pushing for it. Okay? So what can we do? A couple of things. One, talk about it at WordCamp. Two, join the Make WordPress Slack if you haven't already. And there are dev chats in Core and Customiser that you can be a part of. And when people talk about what would you like to see in the Customiser, which people do talk about, that's a really good opportunity to talk about Customise Posts or similar, or the opposite. Also, Make WordPress Core. There's a website, and there are blog posts here regularly, and you can add your comment to blog posts, which might ask, what would you like to see coming in 4.7? Or what would you like to see in 4.8? You can just add a comment there. I'd really like to see posts and pages in the Customiser, or something like that. And of course, there's the Customiser component on Track. If you're involved in Track, that's a really good way of bringing it up. That's it for my presentation. My name's Luke, and I'll take your questions.
Thanks, Luke. Hands straight up in the air for questions.
Hi, great presentation. I've never heard about that Customiser editor. Now, once you edit it, when you actually edit and finish, and you see the result, does it actually create a preview?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So what I'm worried about is you're going to flood the revisions, post revisions.
Yeah, so no, post revisions aren't flooded. When you're editing it, it stores it all. Help me out here, Reinhard. Where's it stored?
It's in memory at that stage. It's not actually saved.
Yes, unless you've got post revisions. So that's right. It's in memory. But there's also a plugin called Customize Snapshots, which will let you, which is really handy if you're running like a high traffic site and you want to launch something that at a particular time, and you want to be able to create a whole bunch of pages, and at the same time, update this page and update that page, and all of the changes to be published at once. How are you going to do that in WordPress? You can't do it. But there is a plugin for Customize, if you use it with Customise Posts, called Customize Snapshots, which doesn't create the revisions, it stores it in an options table and stores all this data there, so that, and then it goes live at the time that you set. Does that make sense? Okay, I'll take another question, sure.
Sorry.
Thank you, Luke. I really enjoy hearing about other people trying to hack that welcome screen. What I wanted to ask is, are there any resources or plugins or talk about that being able to actually customize the whole dashboard? I know that there's lots of little tools that you can do it, and I know that lots of sort of development companies do it, but being able to customize that whole welcome screen in a case where you're a development team building sites for your clients, so that first thing they see isn't change your theme when you've spent months building them a theme. So do you know of any tools that exist to be able to customize that same welcome screen, or
Have you tried an editor account?
Sorry?
Yeah, no, I know that there's a plugin called White Label WordPress.
Oh, I've already used that one, yep.
That and using editor accounts, I'd be welcome. Hopefully, maybe other people can help you better than that.
Okay,
that's all
cool.
know,
I might have a chat to you about the core stuff too.
All right.
Sweet, thank you.
Yep.
We have time for one more question. You're the closest.
Thank you. So I have a few questions. I'll try to be quickly, honestly, but the first one is that easy to use it for any theme or only the 2011-16? As well as for mobile devices, can I add it to use in mobile? And the last one is for custom taxonomies or custom fields. How easy it will be to customize it? Thank you.
Great question. Your first question was, how does it work with custom themes? It does work out of the box with custom themes, but to get that support for only the one individual section updating, that does require theme support. Okay? Otherwise, it will refresh the whole page. Your second question was mobile device. Customizer doesn't really work on a mobile device. And the third question, yeah, I'll show you that. It's brilliant. Sorry, this is another really important use for the customizer. If I'm editing this site, this particular post, or you know what, even better, if I've gone into a customizer and I've gone into pages and I click add new page. Remember we talked about that problem with creating a menu before? You can do that in the customizer with Customise Posts. I've got a title for this page. As I'm doing it, I like to switch to the mobile view in Customizer. And I can open the editor here and start typing my content and see what it looks like on mobile, which is really, it's brilliant. Short of hitting preview, opening a new tab and slimming your screen down, there's no other way of doing that. Your third question?
If you can add custom fields and taxonomies on Customizer as well.
Yes, you can. There's an API for it.